Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Andrea Salmon, one of the Education and Wellbeing Program Coordinators, and I've got Peter Simpson waiting in the wings. Today we're looking at travel. We're starting that discussion again about getting out and about, and we're focusing today on local travel. In the spirit of reconciliation, MS Limited acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples with us today. As I said, it is my pleasure to have Peter Simpson with us again today. Peter works at Assistive Technologies Australia. He has a Certificate 4 as an Assistive Technology Mentor and has completed other courses in peer support and in creating accessible environments, which is Peter's absolute passion and focus. Peter has also been the President of Physical Disability Council New South Wales for some years, and he has a strong background in systemic advocacy. And as I said, he works with Assistive Technologies Australia as an Assistive Technology Mentor. So we thought today that we'd start the conversation about travel again. Coming out of COVID, it might be time to start thinking about it. And we all enjoy the opportunity to get away, a change of routine, time off, new places, bit of adventure, getting off grid. Whatever it is, we have just simply not been able to do enough of it in the last couple of years. But we can start dreaming and planning again. So as I said, today we're going to focus on local travel and local holidays and show you some of the adaptations, some pieces of equipment that can make having that holiday just that much easier. And in another program down the track, we'll look at traveling a little further afield. The biggest part of any holiday, and often the part that's the most fun, is the research that you do before you go. Thinking about what's going to be best for you. Is it a road trip with lots of stops, staying in a different place every night? Or would it be better to choose one location and do day trips from there? Would a train trip or perhaps a cruise work for you, where you can unpack once and just enjoy the trip? That requires thinking about the luggage that you might require. If you hire a camper van, you can pack it all before you leave home. But if you're driving or going by train, what's going to be the best luggage for you? Travelling within Australia removes the language, the currency and the health barriers. You can get your scripts filled readily. You can access money from ATMs, and these days we're all using credit, so accessing money is probably old school now. We hopefully speak the same language, and the health system is accessible wherever you are. You may even be able to arrange personal care in another location. If you're funding personal care at home, you should be able to transport that to be funded in other locations as well. Might be worth that conversation to see what can be arranged. And of course, with anything in MS, there's the impact of fatigue. But again, like other times, it's all about planning and organisation so that you can have rest breaks while the rest of the holiday makers go off and do some things maybe without you, creating space for everyone's needs to be met. So get creative. It's all about thinking differently. So let's see what great gadgets and advice Peter has put together for us today. Peter, what about starting with that area of luggage and then moving into equipment? And please take us through what you've found.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Andrea. Just firstly, I don't know about everybody else, but I think coming after such a lockdown period that we've had, I know myself, I'm looking forward to, over this Christmas period and in the new year, you know, travelling interstate a little bit, catching up with family that I haven't seen in sort of over a year. So, you know, I myself is also starting to think about, you know, where can I go to, where's safe for me to go to as well. And quite often, you know, just, you know, local is really good, even if it's just a couple of hours up the coast for a weekend. You know, that might be a really good, meaningful trip for somebody. So yeah, today there's lots of different types of technology and equipment out there that's available for travel and portable things like that. So what I've done today is just selected a few different types of products that people might want to consider, and then it's obviously, you know, you work out what a piece of equipment is actually best for you. So yeah, so we'll look at luggage. So what I've done with luggage is I've just put a few different various types of samples of different types of luggage. So the first one is, which a lot of people might have seen and or currently use, is a 4-wheel hard travel case. So what's really good about these suitcases is that they're on 4 wheels. So if somebody has trouble actually carrying the bag while they're walking or something like that, it's quite easily wheeled along the ground with a telescopic handle, which can help people, because again, they can now move their bag around at their regular standing height, rather than having to kneel down or to reach the bag and stuff like that. And also, these type of bags are really good too for overseas travel as well, because they've got a hard case. Also, if you're packing a car, because they've got such a hard case, they're less liable to damage whatever you've got loaded inside your suitcase. These type of bags can come in various sizes as well, whether it be a smaller carry-on or a larger suitcase, such as the one in the picture. So that might be easier for a good option for somebody luggage-wise. The second one we're looking at is the second picture is actually of a duffel bag or a swag. So again, this is a different type of bag depending on what you want to carry and what you want to put in your bag, but also it's nice and soft for somebody to carry. So for example, a bag like this might be really good if you're a wheelchair user, for example, whereas you might be able to balance it on your lap, or you know, if the straps are long enough, you might be able to put the straps around your wheelchair somehow while the bag's on your lap. So again, a bag like this might be good for somebody as well. Also, it might be able to hold a little bit more than for example, a hard suitcase might. So this might be a good option for people as well, because it will, as I said, will hold more items, and good for carrying bulky items as well, packing more bulky pieces of equipment in a bag such as this. Now, the last two pictures are of a product that's actually quite new. It's quite new on the market. It's been around for about a couple of years, and it was actually designed by, it comes out of the UK, it was actually designed by a wheelchair user based in the UK, and it's called the Phoenix Instinct wheelchair bag. So as you can see in that last picture, the bag that comes with large multi-directional wheels, very similar to casters, and the bag will actually attach to the armrest on the back of your wheelchair. So this is a good option for somebody that for example, if they're traveling alone, for example, whereas they might have a duffel bag or a swag on their lap, as well as this suitcase attached to the back of the chair as well. And the compartments, it comes with different compartments inside, which are actually quite large, and has things like double zippers on it with quite big ring pulls and things like that. So even if somebody has poor hand function, they can open and close this bag quite easily. So this is another option that I actually quite like, that somebody's obviously thought outside the square when they've designed this. So again, if you're a wheelchair user, this might be an option for you. Might not be for everybody, because it may not be large enough for you to carry what you need, or you may not need it if you're going on a road trip with a couple of other people, for example. But certainly if you're traveling on your own and you're a wheelchair user, that might be a good option for you as well. Okay, so now we'll have a look at a different types of style of luggage trolley. So again, depending on how much luggage you have, even if you're in the car, for example, you drive to your accommodation, and you don't necessarily want to do 2 or 3 trips from the car to take all your stuff inside. A luggage trolley might be really convenient for you. So I wanted to give an example here of 2 different design types here. So that the first one is of a heavy duty luggage cart. So again, this is collapsible, foldable, and it has a reinforced bottom plate which you can put your bags and things on, and you might strap them in with a hockey strap or something like that as well. Again, it has a telescopic handle similar to the suitcase, so again you can push it or at whatever height suits you. If you're a taller person, you just add a little bit more length on that handle, so it's easier for you to get it around. And it's foldable as well, and has the 4 wheels. So something like that might be good for you as well. The second one is of a folding hand trolley. So again, this one's a little bit bigger, a little bit more bulkier. Again, not for a lot of people. But this cart will actually hold more, so this might be good, for example, if you're going camping maybe, or something like that, rather than necessarily just sort of driving to a hotel or anything like that, where the luggage cart might actually be a better option for you. But the folding hand trolley might be good for something like camping, where you're having to walk a little bit further with your luggage, and you want something a bit bigger that will hold more of your luggage. So again, this has 4 wheels on it, which are larger. So again, that has larger wheels, so you might be able to go over more of a rough surface with this type of trolley, for example, rather than just a flat surface. And then something like this would be very easy to clean as well. And the front wheels can rotate 360. So no matter what direction you're sort of traveling, it makes it easier to both push and pull as well. And then our last 2 pictures are of travel packing bags, which I know a lot of people are into. I know a lot of my friends are into. So this might be a situation where, when you're actually packing things into your suitcase, you might want to keep them separate, for example. So a good example for this might be if you're going on a long road trip, for example, and you get to a rest stop or something and you want something particular out of your bag, rather than having to rummage through it and find it, you might have things packed separately into compartments, whether it be your medication, for example, or your toiletries, or whatever personal hygiene items you may have. It's just an easier way to separate things inside a suitcase. So that first picture is actually of a set that you can actually buy. And then that last picture, again, is simple as using Ziploc bags, for example. Rather than thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to buy, a whole lot of bags and to do this, that there's simple items out there, such as your sandwich freezer bags that have got zip ties, for example. Those are quite large enough to hold your medication and your toiletries and things like that. So again, that's another low cost item of doing exactly the same thing.
And I love those, Peter, because you can label them. So they could be, you know, in that picture, they're labeled for different people, but they could be labeled with what's in them. That's fabulous.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know I actually use them as well, depending on, you know, what suitcase I'm using and where I'm traveling to. Yeah, they're quite handy. So now we'll just have a look at some portable equipment. So again, if you're somebody that needs to travel with, you know, at home you use a shower chair or a commode, for example, to do your daily, you know, your showering and things like that. You know, you might be in a situation where you might need to travel with your commodes and those sort of things as well. And you're thinking, you know, it's you know, while a lot of hotels and accommodation providers may supply a basic shower chair or something for you on request, you might want to take your own shower chair or your own commode. So I've put up a few options here of what we call travel chairs, travel commodes. So the first one, which is of a multi-chair stationary shower chair. So in this first picture, you will see that the actual shower chair has a little bit of a bench coming out the side of it on the right hand side there. So this this will actually allow people, a lot of hotels and accommodation that particularly say that they're disability or wheelchair accessible and are really not. So I know like me, a lot of people will get to a hotel and find that there's, in the wheelchair accessible room, for example, there's no rolling shower. You know, a lot of hotels still have the shower above the bath, for example. So this particular shower chair will allow you to place the shower chair beside the toilet, and that little transfer bench will actually hang over the bath. So it will allow you to actually shower in the bath without actually getting into the bath, if that's where the shower is. So this is a really handy transfer bench that will suit that purpose. For example, can still be used as an over toilet shower chair as well. But this will actually allow you to use that shower that's positioned above the bath by sitting on the edge of that transfer bench over the bath. And as you can see on the picture, this particular shower chair comes with a travel bag as well, so it can easily be folded up and stored in a nice convenient carry bag as well. The picture at the top as well, very similar. This one's actually a four-wheeled commode, shower buddy, eco traveller. So again, a very similar type of shower chair, but again, will allow you to roll in and roll out. As there is no larger wheels on the back, this chair is primarily an attendant push chair, so you will need somebody to push you into position in this type of shower chair, but again, will fold up and can be put inside a travel case. The bottom picture, which is of the Sitara wheel-able travel commode, again is another item that has been on the market now for a few years, but is actually still quite new. So this one is actually a self-propelled shower chair. So as you can see, has larger wheels at the back, so you can push yourself over the toilet or into the shower, wherever it may be. It's actually quite light. It weighs about 11 kilograms. So it's actually made of quite a hard plastic material. So it's actually quite light, which means it's easy to clean and wipe down. Will actually fit over this will actually fit over standard toilet seat heights as well. That's another thing too. When we're traveling in Australia, most of our toilets in hotel rooms and accommodations, again, all pretty much meet the standard height. But as we'll talk about in webinars coming up, when we start to travel overseas, we can come to other countries may not necessarily have the standard height sort of toilets that we do, but this is a really good lightweight commode, and it can be used as a freestanding commode, or also comes with an optional pan underneath for toileting as well, if you don't want to place it over the toilet. So comes with a carry case as well. Unlike the other two carry cases, this one is a bit more bulkier, and actually it's a hard case on wheels. So something like this might be a bit too large for you, for example, if you want to put it in the car, for example, for a road trip. So this may not be a good option in relation to that, but again, it's up to whatever your preferences are.
Peter, they're great to know that they're available, because until today I didn't realise that you could buy collapsible, transportable equipment. It puts me in mind of a couple of things, because you made a really good point before about checking with the place that you're going to be staying at and what equipment they have available already, because that homework piece is so important. And it also makes me think you would really want to be weighing up the option of taking the equipment with you or hiring it where you're going. So there's those two options as well. But this is fabulous to even know that these foldable, portable equipment is available. It's great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as you were saying, you're absolutely right. If you're somebody that doesn't need this type of equipment, but just requires a basic shower chair, for example, just a plain ordinary plastic garden variety shower chair to shower in, something like that, if you ring ahead, the accommodation might be able to provide that for you, for example, rather than having it taking up more room in the car.
Yeah.
And just something else that I will add that is very handy as well is that when we're talking about research and researching ahead on the actual accommodation we want to stay at, and when we're booking accommodation, it's really good, and it's really good to remember that you need to be, when you're talking to the receptionist at the accommodation, for example, just make sure that you ask them exactly what you require, and that you talk to them about exactly what you need, because quite often than not, you will be talking to somebody who doesn't have any idea of what disability access means or what wheelchair access means.
Yeah.
So even just asking somebody if a room is wheelchair accessible, it may not actually be wheelchair accessible, but they might not comprehend all the things that make a room wheelchair accessible. So they might say, oh, yes, we do, or it might be advertised on their website as such. So just always be mindful of, whenever you're doing that kind of research, ask specific questions. For example,
ask them to send you photos.
Oh, absolutely.
These days with mobile phone, get them to go in and take a photo so you know exactly what they're talking about.
Absolutely, because I know a lot of it, even when I'm looking at hotels and researching, a lot of them like to have photos of the front foyer of their hotels and all the things that look nice in their accommodation, but may not necessarily have photos of the accessible room, for example. So yeah, absolutely, get them to send you photos and things like that. But just remember to be, when you're asking these type of questions, be a little bit more specific so that you can get the information that you need.
That's great. Now, some other portable equipment, Peter.
Yeah, so now we'll look at, particularly here, we'll look at things like portable scooters and ramps. So again, portable scooters, again, scooters, again, as Andrew just mentioned, may be something that, depending on where you're traveling to, you may be able to hire at your destination or destinations, for example. But this is a good option for somebody who likes to travel with their own scooter, or maybe even just be able to purchase a portable one that you only use when you travel, for example, rather than taking your big bulky scooter with you. So the Free Rider luggage portable travel scooter which we actually have one of these on display here at Blacktown in our showroom, is actually quite a small scooter, and as you can see by that first photo, will actually fold up and fit into that hard suitcase. But again, I said, any additional equipment you take with you is going to, take up more room in the car, or is going to add more luggage for you. But so it may not be you may decide you want to hire your scooter at your destination. But there's a lot of nice travel scooters out on the market, such as this, that will actually fold up and put into a bag, and actually have are easily rechargeable, and will have, quite a long distance range, for example. And one thing for those of you that, one thing I will add too is, when we're looking at scooters, particularly these portable lightweight scooters, is I highly recommend that we always look at a four-wheeled scooter rather than a three-wheeled scooter, because having that single wheel at the front of your scooter actually makes the scooter a little bit less stable, a little bit more off balance, particularly with these smaller scooters that don't weigh much at all. Things like turning around corners really quickly and changing direction really quickly like that can topple the scooter over. So I always mention to people that they should always look at a four-wheeled scooter. Particularly,
Peter, Rosie has put in a comment. She said, "I love my luggy scooter. It's great for airports too."
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know that scooter as well. Yeah, absolutely. And again, most, pretty much all of the airlines now are actually really flexible when it comes to traveling with your assistive technology now. So, it's actually really good. So, and then we look at a couple of ramp options as well. So again, if you're somebody who travels in a power chair, for example, and maybe you're traveling to a destination that's might be a little bit more historical, for example, and wheelchair access may not be that great, or may not be the best. There's a couple of different foldable ramp options here. So we've got the Pride Silver Star portable ramp, again, which is a one-piece ramp that will actually fold into, can use for getting up gutters, or maybe a couple of steps, 1 or 2 steps, for example. And then at the bottom, we've got the Invacare deckpack portable folding ramps. Now, these folding ramps, a lot of people might see for at train stations when you're getting on a train. These are the ramps that all the train stations use, and you can buy these in multiple lengths. So you just get the ramp that you need, and again, they fold up pretty thin, so you can store them, whether it be in between pieces of luggages in your boot or anything like that. So portable ramps, even when you're not traveling, something like a portable ramp is always good to keep in your car all the time anyway, because you never know when you might need them, for example.
Absolutely.
So there's just a couple of things we're looking at.
Peter, how heavy are the portable ramps? Rosie wants to know. It would probably depend, I imagine, on how big they are, how long they are.
Yeah, I haven't got them in my notes at the moment. Again, both of those products, Rosie, are actually on our AT Australia website, so you can have a look there, I think, and for a little bit more information on them. But I know those Invacare ones, which are the ones they use, the train stations use, can actually be quite a bit heavier, particularly if you get the longer ramps, for example. But it does depend on how long your ramp is going to be, and a portable ramp is something that you probably need assistance with anyway. It's probably not something you can lay down and pick up and carry around on your own, for example. So it might be something that you need assistance for. But I think these ones are actually, you can get them up to 2 meters in length, I think, from memory. And all of those Invacare ramps have a load capacity of about 300 kilograms. So we'll actually hold the weight of a good power chair.
Yep.
So,
and the details of ATA's website are on the slides.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually put all of the products I put here are actually the product names on our website. So if you just go to our website and search the product names on these slides, it will take you straight to that product.
And Peter, do you know, Nicole's wondering if the luggy cover, that hard cover, is available in Australia, because she hasn't seen one before.
For the scooter we're talking about? Yeah,
yes.
For the scooter.
Maybe that's something we can find out.
Yeah, that's something we can have a look at. I know I think there is one, I can't remember the particular supplier for this product at the top of my head. Again, it's on our website. I think there's 2 suppliers in Australia that are actually selling this product at the moment, and it does come. I know it comes with the hard case, but I'm not too sure. You might want to contact the supplier to get some more details on that one.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Okay, so we'll move to the next slide. So what I've done here is I've just put in a few portable fans in here, because I know myself, particularly when traveling as well, it can get quite hot, particularly if you're traveling during summer. And I know a lot of people out there have a lot of problems regulating their body temperature, whether it be particularly cooling down if you're hot. And I know vehicles in particular can become quite hot. So I've just added a couple of really good portable cooling fans that I've come across. So the first one's just is actually a handheld rechargeable fan. So this one will actually charge by a USB charger, for example. So most cars these days have USBs in them, so you can charge it in the car, for example, or charge it off your power bank or something like that, for example. The second one's just of a desk fan, a mini desk fan, so that might be good in your hotel room, for example, if the air conditioning's not working properly, or you're having trouble in the accommodation. So just having a portable desk fan to be able to cool you down might be a really good option as well. And the last one looks a little bit weird, but it's just a portable.
No, I think that's great.
Fan that's actually worn around the neck and just constantly blows air into your face, basically.
Yeah. So you don't have to hold on to it. That's terrific.
Absolutely. So that's the hands-free neck fan. Also, there's also some cloth options on the market as well. So a nice good cloth where you soak it in water, for example, and just wrap it around your neck. something like that might be a really good option as well, rather than having an actual fan option.
And of course, Peter, we have a lot of information through MS Connect on all the cooling apparel. So the cooling vests and the cooling neckties, cooling hats, forearm coolers, so all sorts of things that people can wear to help keep them cool. And a lot of people find them really helpful for travel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And even around the home, you know, while working in the garden and things like that as well, they can be handy for.
Absolutely. Now, I think I specifically asked for you to include this, the gadget that helps you get in and out of the car more easily, gives you a handle to lean on. Tell us about these.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this product here, which is the first one, which is a handy bar, which is a car transfer bar. So, this is good for people that have trouble with their stand to sit transfers, and vice versa, getting in and out of a vehicle, whether it be any of the seats, whether it be the driver or passenger, or the rear seats as well. So this portable handy bar will actually, so how this works is the grey curved steel part at the front of the bar actually sits inside the vehicle's lock. Where when you open your car door, where the hinge is on the inside of the car, where the door slams into, this bar will actually fit into. You'll notice it's like a bit of a U-shape bar that comes out of the door. This handy bar will actually sit inside that and will lock it in place, so it acts as a grab rail and will allow you to put your body weight on that bar to be able to stand up or sort of sit down as well.
Yep, just gives you that handle where there's usually nothing. You've got then something to push up on. They're wonderful.
Yeah, it helps you getting out and getting into the vehicle. And also to that you can see that white area in the middle of the bar. That's actually a seatbelt cutter, just for emergency situations where you need to cut the seatbelt. The bar will actually has a seatbelt cutter as well, so it will allow you to cut the seatbelt if you need to get out of your car quickly, for example. Inflatable neck pillows. These are something that I know are really popular with everybody, whether you're traveling in an aircraft or traveling in a car. Particularly, you know, provides you with that neck support, particularly if you want to have a sleep or something while you're in the seated position. Just allows you, just gives you a little bit more neck support. And these things are actually quite cheap, and you can actually buy them where you can either blow them up and inflate them yourself, or you can actually buy them already as a pillow type material as well. So neck support pillows are really handy. And most of them are contoured to fit comfortably around the neck as well. So a lot of these sort of things you can be picked up in $2 shops, for example, and are quite inexpensive as well. The picture up the top is actually of a lumbar roll. So this particular piece of padding, this particular lumbar roll provides postural support for the lumbar and the neck areas while sitting in the car. So, for example, if you're somebody that gets a lot of lower back pain and you have trouble sitting down and you need to position something in the arch of your back, for example, this is where this lumbar roll would be really good. Might provide a little bit of some more back support, or similar to the neck support pillow, you might want to position it behind behind the gap in the back of your neck, for example, just to provide a little bit more support while seated, and helps with those pressure points while seated as well. And a lot of these, this particular one comes with a washable cover as well, so it can be taken out of its cover and washed as well. And the bottom picture is just of a pressure relief cushion. So again, this is an orthopedic cushion. It is constructed from a 3 centimetre high thick density foam, and inside it has inside the cover it has an egg crate memory foam. So if you can picture what an egg crate looks like, that's what this particular cushion is shaped like on the inside, with a memory foam. So it just gives a little bit more comfort as well, something you might want to sit on while traveling, and allows a little bit more air circulation as well. Gives you a little bit more support. So this could be used, for example, really good for cars, as I said, sitting in cars, or seated anywhere in the home, or used as a wheelchair cushion even. So it's mainly used for people that are at low risk of pressure injuries, like pressure sores and things like that, circulation issues. So something like this might be good for you. Again, there's a lot of different types of cushions on the market. So it might even be something that you might want to talk to a health professional about as well, whether it be an OT or a physio, just to work out what type of pressure relief cushion would be best for your circumstances.
And I love this idea, Peter, that there's some technology ideas that you've included today.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are more, I've just included a few sort of travel gadgets that people need when traveling. I know myself, you know, I travel with my mobile phone and things that I need to be able to charge them quite quickly. So these are just a few options. So the Power Buddy, for example, is good for somebody, if you're somebody that uses a power chair, for example, and this particular charger will actually plug into the charging port of your power wheelchair. So rather than, I know what a lot of people are doing now is you can actually get the manufacturer of your power chair. This is another option as well. You can actually get the manufacturer of your power chair to actually install a USB port, for example, into power wheelchairs now. A lot of manufacturers are doing that. But if you're not in a situation to be able to get that modification made to a power chair, for example, this is just a particular product that actually plugs into the actual power cord charging port in the wheelchair. And then, so it has that adapter at one end, and then at the other end is the USB port that will plug into your phone. So this might be a good option for you if you're in your wheelchair all day, for example, whether it be every day or you're on a holiday and you don't have access to a power point to charge your phone or any other device, for example, this might be a good option, whether it be your phone, your tablet, or any other device that uses USB. So this is a really good option for people. The second one, again, is just just a generic power bank. That again, there's many various options of power banks on the market, but this is something I know I use all the time. Even when I'm at home, if I'm going somewhere, I know I'm going to be out all day. I'll just make sure my power bank is charged and put it in my pouch under my wheelchair, for example. So it will allow me to charge my phone and devices as well, particularly if you have any, not only phones, but if you have any emergency devices that you use. So whether it's an emergency pendant or that uses USB, or whether it be any other assisted device like that uses USB, something like a power bank might be really good. And just quickly, the second one again is a solar powered portable charger.
I love that. I love that there's now a solar one.
Oh, absolutely. There's actually quite a few of these on the market now. I think it's only been the last couple of years that they've become really popular.
That's great. And I know
particularly when you're traveling in the middle of nowhere.
Absolutely. Now, I know we've put together a few handy travel apps, but I'm sure, Peter, this just opens the floodgates in a way. There's probably so many things that people can access, but tell us about these ones.
Yeah, so thanks, Andrea. So you actually gave me a couple of these options as well as me doing a bit of research, and a couple of ones that I knew of, but there's so many apps and web and accessible travel websites out now that it's so hard to get your head around them all and actually name them all. But we'll just talk about a couple of different things here. So the first
Peter,
one.
Maybe if the people that are online today have any others that they've found really helpful, they could put that in the question area. So Monique has put her hand up. I'll just do a reminder for the question area is you need to open the control panel. You need to look for the question heading and type your question or your comment, in this case there. If you've found the little hands up icon, you just look up a little bit higher to where you've got the orange box with the white arrow that allows you to open and close the control panel. So any tips you've got to share with the group, that'd be fabulous. Sorry, thanks, Peter.
No, you're right. And I'll just start by saying that apps are things like that. Nobody knows all of the apps that are available out there. And like myself, I generally find out about apps through my friends and through my peers and through other people. For example, a friend might say to me, "Oh, I'm using this app. I've come across this. You should look at it." So generally, I find out about apps and websites off a lot of other people. Also, for those of you that are on Facebook, a lot of people will, I actually like quite a different disability-related Facebook groups on Facebook, and a lot of people are always posting things about different apps and different travel hacks and techniques and things like that. So things like that are really good to pick up from as well.
And Kerry has popped in. Debbie has popped in a good. So is that an email, Debbie? Because it's kerry@accessiblegroup.com is a great website. That looks like an email though, Debbie. So I'll just get you to confirm what that website is. Maybe it's accessiblegroup.com. Thanks, Peter.
No worries. So firstly, I'll just talk about something really basic, and that is something as simple as the calendar settings on your phone, for example, might be really beneficial to you. So particularly while traveling, so whether it be using it to set reminders, for example, about whether it be taking medication or places you want to see, or planning your day while you're traveling. Something as simple as the calendar on your phone, is a really good option. Simple option as well. So for things like daily planning, accommodation, websites to have a look at. Something that's a really simple option as well that a lot of people don't think about, but it's right there on their phone. So the first one I'll talk about is the next there. which is the first one there, the picture of the train or the bus or whatever you want to call it. So the next there is a free app. It's an iOS app. It's on the Apple Store for those that have an Apple phone. I think there's an Android version as well, but I can't confirm that. So you might want to look it up on the Google Plus Store as well. But this one is basically a public transport app. So it tells you things like the bus timetable, so when the next bus is. It's got train, ferry, and tram timetables as well for all of the major cities in Australia, and it also includes some New Zealand and some US-based cities as well. So this is one of many various types of public transport apps that are out there as well. There's also a couple of different apps similar to this that will look at each state of Australia as well. So, and this particular one gives real live time updates as well. So an app like this is really good for if you're planning to get from your hotel, for example, if you're on a trip to whatever tourist attraction you want to see, whether we're getting the bus and all that as well. And this app as well has accessible bus routes and talks about the accessible stations as well, whether they're accessible or not. So this one's really good.
I'm conscious of the time, so we might not go through each of the apps, but I've got a question that might be for you or for the whole group. Rose is wondering if anyone knows of an app that could give you accessible walking tracks and then also the accessibility levels. So people might pop that in. And the website that Debbie was talking about was kerry@accessiblegroup.com. And I've tried to email that, but I might email that to everyone separately for accessible accommodation, which is really great. And they send emails out. So I'm going to sort of concur with what you were saying before, that getting on to Facebook, getting onto social media, getting onto support groups where you can ask questions and compare notes with people, that is so valuable. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just quickly add that we're talking about the walking tracks. That Sidekicks app, which is actually in the middle of the picture there, is actually an app that looks at walking routes and with your favourite cities around the world and things like that. So that's a really good app that actually does that.
That's great. I'm sorry, I don't mean to rush you through it, but so are there key things that you want to point out about these different apps?
Yeah, I think the other one I will talk about that's really good for people is the National Public Toilet Map, which a lot of people may have come across. That's on the bottom right hand side of the page there. That actually comes as a website, as a full website and an app as well. So just quickly, it will give the location of all public toilets in Australia, and will actually mention whether they're wheelchair accessible or not. So I know that app I find really good and is actually helpful to a lot of people as well. And just quickly, the other get is Spinal Cord Injuries Australia's website has a really good travel resource page with things on tips, travel ideas, accommodation, and things like that. So that's another good resource as well if anybody wants to have a look at their website.
Tell me that one again. What was that called?
Spinal Cord Injuries Australia.
I'll put these extra ideas in an email to everyone afterwards. That's great. So please, everyone, pop in your ideas of things that you have found useful and helpful, and we'll share that with the group.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Now,
Andrea.
I think we've got a little bit more about cooling products, which we kind of touched on before with the fan. These are great.
Yeah, just a couple of little more cooling products. As Andrea mentioned before, on the right-hand side, we've got different personal cooling products, which are available as well. And also it's just some things like cooling vests as well, where cooler bits and things like that can actually be placed inside the vest to allow you to cool down as well.
If people want to call MS Connect, we've actually got some neckties that can be sent out to people free of charge. So it's a little bit tricky at the moment because we're not in the office, but you could be put on the list and a cooling necktie will be sent out to you as soon as we can. And even just a comprehensive list of all the different suppliers and the different styles of cooling products, because heat intolerance is certainly an issue for people with MS, and we don't want that to stop you doing anything that you want to do, whether it's leisure, travel, or even work. They can be really helpful. So moving on and having a think about fatigue, you would all recognise that fatigue is a huge issue for people who are living with MS. And we've got heaps of programs and resources that you can tap into to learn more about managing fatigue. But when it comes to travel, there are some other perhaps key things to remember. And really, it's about you tuning into your body and how you are reacting to the situation that you're in. The same rules of pacing and making the most of rest breaks, they all apply. But we don't want to make the holiday about rushing. You know, you kind of want to be selective about what you do and enjoy the things that you choose to do within your fatigue limitations. So it could be the perfect time to try using a piece of equipment. That portable scooter that Peter mentioned before is just fabulous, or that idea of hiring a wheelchair to enable you to go further. So be open. These pieces of equipment can be life-changing. But make sure you also plan rest days, days with less to do, balanced with those days that are busier. And be prepared to be flexible. So if you need to change your itinerary because you need a rest break and you need to put in a rest day, make sure you've got that flexibility built in. Drink plenty of water, eat well, take your own pillow if you need to enable you to sleep well. All the same fatigue principles apply at home apply when you're traveling as well. And I think too often we get a bit caught up with, you know, putting all that stuff out the window when we really need to make sure we've applied all our regular fatigue management principles, no matter where we are. So Peter's put together some ideas on where to get further advice. Thanks, Peter.
So just quickly, where to get further advice when it comes to travel and looking at holidays. So just quickly, as I mentioned before, our peers, our friends, people that similar lived experiences to us, social media groups, posts, travel blogs as well is another good one. Particularly when there's a lot of information out there on accessible travel, particularly in the international space. You know, there's a lot of disability users from overseas, for example, that have got their own travel blogs and YouTube videos and things like that are really good resources as well. Accessible travel agents, again, that's another area that in the last couple of years since the NDIS has come in that travel agents are starting to specialise in. So there's a lot more travel agents out there now that will actually specialise in booking accessible accommodation and things like that. So that's another good option if you don't want to do all of this research yourself and book that sort of accommodation. And other organisations and community travel clubs as well is another good option. And then just quickly how to fund equipment. So again, just quickly, funding options. We've got the NDIS for those that have an NDIS plan, for example. You might be able to put for something like short-term accommodation into your plan as well. that will actually allow you to take some support workers away with you, for example, if you're somebody that needs that assistance while traveling as well. And then you've got, just quickly, My Aged Care. You've got sort of DVA as well for those older people that might need assistance with equipment. And then you've got the Gold scholarships through MS as well. And just lastly, just some useful resources. So again, you've got our Assistive Technology Australia website. All of the products that you've viewed on our that we've spoken about today are all on our website. So there's a link there to our website. Accessible transport and travel. That's the page through Spinal Cord Injuries Australia website, which I just briefly mentioned. So check out their page. It's got some good resources on there as well. Also, another good one that I found is Have Wheelchair Wheel Travel. This is a really good website that also has a Facebook page as well. Now, this website is actually run by a family where the son actually is actually a wheelchair user, and they do different blogs about different. They do reviews on hotel and other different types of accommodation, as well as tourist attractions as well. So that's another really good website as well. But again, there's a lot out there for you to have a look at.
That's fantastic. So I love this quote too to finish off with. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones that you did. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. So, and there's our contact details of both Peter and MS Connect. So we would love you to reach out, to share ideas, to ask further questions, and to follow up some of the things that Peter has talked about. I've made a little note of a few of those websites, and we'll send that around, and we'd love to hear from you guys too. And if you've got questions, now's a really good time. We understand you might need to go because we've reached the hour mark, but if you're happy to stay online, we're happy to address a couple of the questions that have come in. Just a little bit more about Assistive Technology Australia, a wonderful organisation with a fabulous website for advice and expertise and training. You might navigate that yourself and have a look around their website. They don't actually sell anything. So to me, that's a beautiful service that they're offering without the pressure of wanting a sale. I don't know whether you would say it in that way, Peter, but I think that's a fabulous part of the service that you provide. But the advice, being able to problem solve with you around the thing that might be getting in the way. And that's what we often talk about in these programs, is it's not necessarily that we can cover everything that's available, but we can give you the idea that anything that you feel that's getting in the way of you traveling can be addressed, and there'll be something that can help you get over that barrier. So really important stuff.
Absolutely. And Andrea, I'll just lastly, I'll just add, if anybody's got any questions on any type of assistive technology, either give us a call or just shoot us an email on our info line, and we will get back to you with any of the queries that you may have.
That's wonderful. Peter, from Rosie, do you happen to know if that Phoenix bag, the bag that attaches to a wheelchair, do you know if that can be attached to a mobility scooter? Does it have different handles that can be applied to a scooter? Do you know?
It has that particular product has different size handles. So what they've done is they've designed different size handles to do, because not all of the push handles on the back of wheelchairs, for example, are the same thickness. That particular product actually does come with different size brackets.
Oh, great. Worth checking out. Now, there was a bit more discussion about the Luggy hard case. available in Australia. So, and Debbie had felt that she got hers through Scooters Australia and there was no hard case. So maybe between us, we'll do a bit more investigating and see what we can find out about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, again, I don't know, well, you may want to have wanted to ask them too, maybe, if they couldn't provide them, actually, who could, whether there was another supplier that could actually provide that case as well. So, but yeah, things like that are often hard to sort of get information on, but that's a good question.
Okay, cool. There's a couple of thank yous coming in. Someone has absolutely backed you up on the Have Wheelchair Will Travel blog, because they said they explain their adventures well, so you can gauge the level of accessibility of different places. So that's wonderful to know. And the luggy, Rosie said the luggy travels quite well without the case. She's taken hers on lots of trips here and overseas without a case, and it's been okay. So that's good to know as well. Yeah. Cool. That's fabulous. Look, another one, I'll pop it in the email, and I'll find the actual address, but I was recommended a fabulous website called The Man in Seat 61, and it's all about train travel. And this guy writes up in great detail, and I remember the one that I researched was even about where to find the ticket machine when you got to the particular station. And it was fabulous, the detail. So there's some really good advice and support out there when you tap into it. So thank you, Peter. Thanks again for your time in researching some pieces of equipment that would just make things that little bit easier for us to start getting back into our travel that we've all missed so much. And we'll look forward to what else we can put together down the track. And thanks everyone for being online and for being willing to throw in your ideas and your questions into the discussion, because that really helps as well. We will look forward to seeing you at future webinars down the track. And I hope that you'll check out some of the other recordings we've got on our webinar library. We've done a few programs now with Peter, and they're all there for you to access in the webinar library. Thanks so much, Peter, and thanks everyone for being online.